Hi there, it's Stacy Elsner with Coffee Talk. I am waiting for Clarence to join me and we will get going. So I hope everyone's doing well. How is everyone enjoying the first day of summer? So there he is. So let's just see. There he is. I am looking forward to having him talk with us. Find out. Hi there, Clarence.
Hi, Stacy. How's it going?
Good. How are you? You?
I'm doing pretty well.
Good. How is everything out on the West Coast?
Yeah, I'm out here in Silicon Valley. We're just an hour south of San Francisco. It's basically where all the tech companies have their home.
Okay. And how is the market out there?
So the market is unbelievable. I think people really expect a little bit more of like a softer market. But since the beginning of the year, we're having very low inventory. Home values have gone up. But our values compared to last year, same time last year, is a little bit lower. But I think the shock is at how competitive the market has been for the last almost 6 months.
Okay. So interest rates haven't really affected things then too much.
Well, I think that interest rates really have affected us in terms of sellers not willing to put their house in the market because they don't know. One is that they're enjoying very good interest rates right now. About
Right.
60% of the homeowners in the area have an interest rate below 3.5. So that's a very hard thing to give up. And also if you're looking in the area, their options are pretty limited. So they're really in a very tight situation. So we're seeing multiple offers for a lot of homes. But also, it really depends how well we are marketing the homes and pricing the homes. Because we're still seeing some homes sit in the market for a while. So our supply of inventory is just less than 1 month worth of supply. So still is a seller's market.
Okay. So when you say things are sitting on the market for a little bit, what's a little bit for you?
A little bit is probably anything longer than 3 weeks. Um,
Okay.
so our median days in the market, I just did the stats for the last week, is around 8 days.
Okay.
But doesn't tell. But we have homes sitting over vastly longer, so it's kind of like tale of two cities of listings. Either they sell pretty quickly, or they're going to sit on the market for a while. And luckily, a lot of sellers are pricing it accordingly, especially with the very low inventory that we have right now here in the county.
Right. So let me ask you a question. When there were all of those like tech layoffs, were you guys impacted by that?
Uh, yes, quite a bit. So a lot of my potential buyers, are still sitting on the sidelines because they're not too sure what's happening with their company.
Hmm.
Some of them are still anticipating some layoffs in the future.
Right.
They're just kind of waiting and see. I had a couple of clients that kind of started deciding, hey, we're just not going to buy this year because they just haven't found any job.
Uh-huh.
So we're in a weird situation. We have very little inventory. We're still, and the folks who are buying have very high income levels. So they're able to buy in our current inventory right now.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Um, I was actually talking with a lender right before this call, and that's what, is going on here too. And she's licensed all over the um, country. People that are sitting on those interest rates just below three, they're like, well, why would I give this up
Mhm.
when my payments, even if I buy something a little bit bigger, my payments are gonna totally double.
Mhm.
Um, Plus some, you add the 6.5% interest rate. And what am I going to move into?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, our inventory choices are pretty low here. We don't have much new construction, and even if they are, they're not in the single family homes. They're infill developments, small developments that are like maybe 200 to 300 units, and they're mostly townhouses and condos. If you're looking for a single family home, a lot of these folks are looking in the Central Valley as a viable option, or moving a little further to the southern part of our county, like Morgan Hill and Gilroy, which is probably a shorter drive than being out in the Central Valley for a lot of folks who are working in the tech center in the northern part of Santa Clara County, or along the peninsula between San Jose and San Francisco.
Got it. I'm not as familiar with that part of California,
Yeah.
so this is all education for me.
Yeah.
So, which I appreciate.
Oh, you're welcome. I mean, people hear Silicon Valley, and a lot of people are thinking of San Francisco. But we're actually larger than San Francisco in terms of population. San Francisco's less than 900,000. Santa Clara County has almost 2 million people.
Okay.
So we're double the size of San Francisco. The largest city in the county is San Jose, and it's actually the 12th largest city in the country, which is bigger than San Francisco, bigger than Oakland. When they think of the Bay Area, they usually think of those two cities, not thinking of San Jose or Santa Clara County, where actually more people living in our county compared to up in San Francisco or up in Oakland.
Got it. Got it. Wow. All right. California is just very big and very confusing when we're looking for, referral partners out there.
Yeah.
So, wow. Okay. So you have gotten really good at social media and your reels.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about how, because I'm like trying, I'm getting better at it. I get a little, this is easy for me, having a conversation with
Yeah.
someone, but I don't want to say making fun of myself, but doing some of the reels are a little harder for me.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing them?
So I've been playing with the reels probably about a year. So I first started doing the talking head thing, where you just tell people a little opinion, a little facts about the area, which is really easy. But I've been enjoying more of highlighting my community, taking videos, stills, and incorporating into my social media. Try to highlight what makes my area kind of unique and special compared to other areas. So I want to show that I have an understanding of my community. I still have a hard time being in front of the camera still, and try to be a little too perfect. Sometimes I just have to let it go. But I do like to highlight where places that people don't know of, the food scene here, places, our arts and entertainment. I like to highlight, once with the better weather that we're going to be having here, hopefully not too hot. Some of the hiking trails that we have here around Santa Clara County and nearby. I think one thing about living in this area is that San Francisco takes so much oxygen in terms of living in the Bay Area. Santa Clara County has its unique things. Living in Silicon Valley has its unique things. I think people should know about it. So, and if you're thinking about the Bay Area, there's a lot of great different options. And my neck of the woods, it has some benefits.
All right, so tell me, if someone's coming to your neck of the woods, what are the top 3 places that they need to absolutely visit, as far as a hiking trail, a restaurant, or a place that they need to check out?
Okay. So let's start off with downtown San Jose.
Okay.
I think that downtown San Jose as a hub of nightlife, restaurants is definitely a place to check out. There's San Pedro Square. Is actually one of my places to check out, to visit. I actually like to meet friends, get drinks out there. In terms of restaurants, there's too many to name in this area. A lot of them are not going to be on the Michelin guide list. One or two are, but there's such a variety of different cuisines in this area that it's worth checking out and try the different Asian flavors, Latin American flavors. The one that actually people are getting to know in this area is actually the Portuguese food, especially Adega and a couple of their sister restaurant in downtown San Jose. And by the way, Adega is San Jose's first and only Michelin star restaurant we have right now. We have other Michelin star restaurants up in Palo Alto and in Los Gatos, but San Jose's, that's the biggest city's only Michelin star restaurants actually in East San Jose. In terms of hiking, there's plenty of hiking trails in the area. One of my favorite hiking trails is actually near my office in Saratoga. It's Montalvo. It's a quick, easy, hour hike, and you get some nice views of the valley from there. And if you want to go a little further north, in the East Bay, there's one of our popular hikes is actually Mission Peak in Fremont, which is only like from San Jose, probably like maybe 10, 15 minutes.
And is it really like a real hike where you're going like up mountains, or is it an easy hike, or are there different options? Like, I'm from the Midwest,
Yeah.
Chicago, flat. Like there aren't mountains. When I've gone to LA, like you see mountains. Like, am I gonna be dying out there
so,
or?
so, I mean, there's definitely mountains here. It's a valley, and so we got mountain walls kind of bordering our living area, and so there's definitely some steep trails, some easy trails. We do have we do have the Baylands. We have a Viso, which is pretty flat of a hiking trail. So San Jose is connected to the bay technically, but we don't have a port of entry.
Okay.
But there's some nice wetlands out there. You can hike. You can see a couple of the bridges from there. The one in Montalvo, you do see the whole valley from there. And it's probably like an easy to mid level hike to take. But overall, it's a fun hike. It's an easy hike. You can get some great views, and there's a couple benches out there. Another place that's pretty popular is Allen Rock Park. And Eagle Rock, you could see the whole valley from there. So one thing about the hiking trails, you can hike in the open, like the east side hiking trails are very sun intense, so they're great during the wintertime. The more shaded trails are going to be in the west side of the valley, along Saratoga, Los Gatos, Cupertino. We have easy access to some of the hiking trails up at the peninsula. And if you want to go to the beach, you can. The beach is in Santa Cruz, which is over the hillside, which is like if there's traffic, it's about an hour drive.
All right, and so one more question. You owe me a drink still.
Yeah,
so where are you taking me for that drink?
Will you be at the retreat, or are you coming over here?
I don't know. That's to be determined.
Okay.
So,
if you're coming over here, I think on a nice Monday nights, there's a bar called 5 Points. It's a cocktail bar.
Okay.
You do have beer. And on Mondays, they have some live jazz.
Ooh.
And if you come during like Thursday, San Pedro Square does have live music in the courtyard. So we definitely could get some music. But if you're into, we also have some great craft beers around the area. One of my favorite breweries is Camino. Just south of downtown. There's another one, Hoppus, which is really popular. They're well known with Sharks. They actually have a beer that they did a collaboration with the Sharks. We have quite a bit of we have a top-rated barista, bartender at Paper Plane in downtown San Jose also. Who won a couple awards. So just let me know if you want cocktails or want beer. There's great options.
Okay. I had to think about when you said Sharks, I had to think about what that was. And then I'm like, San Jose Sharks, that's hockey, right?
Yeah, that's hockey. So it's
Okay.
hockey. So San Jose. So we have a number of professional sports teams in the area.
Yeah.
So we have a minor league team for the for the San Francisco Giants, the San Jose Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely hockey's big here, surprisingly. And we do have the San Jose Earthquakes. So we have Major League Soccer, and um, the San Francisco 49ers don't play in San Francisco. They play in Santa Clara, which is actually my backyard.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, see, I'm a baseball person and college basketball, so
Yeah,
hockey really isn't my thing, but
yeah.
I,
Well,
I did know the name when you
yeah.
said it. So,
So
yeah.
we do have minor league baseball here. We're like for a big city, being the 12th largest, having minor league baseball is it's a
Yeah.
rarity. San Francisco Giants is up now on just a Caltrain ride up to the city, San
Hmm.
Francisco.
Yeah.
So and BART is accessible to the Oakland A's. Hopefully they don't move to Las Vegas, but it's what it is.
Right. Exactly. Awesome. Awesome. Um, wow. So yeah, no, I definitely need to come out and explore. It's been a really long time since I was in the northern part of California. I have family in LA, so I tend to spend more time down there. But I
Okay.
know my goal one day is to just drive down PCH
Okay.
from the top to the bottom. That's like bucket list.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Well,
yeah.
I know August we have one of the top rated jazz festivals in the country is in San Jose. San Jose Jazz
Uh,
is 2.5 days,
okay.
and we get headliners coming um, all the time. Major headliners like War was here one year. Latin jazz is pretty popular in this festival. Um, and the whole downtown is, has music playing in the paid versions, and they always have free jazz around the bars and restaurants going on during that weekend.
Awesome. Wow. Sounds like summertime in San Jose is pretty amazing.
It is, and luckily we have a lot of smaller communities nearby, like Campbell. Campbell earlier the year had Boogie in the Bayou, and they do a Oktoberfest every year. Obon's coming up, which is in a couple weeks. Which is San Jose has one of three historic Japan towns. San Francisco and LA has the other two. And they're going to have their Obon Festival. They're going to take up the streets of Japantown. And up in Mountain View, the Buddhist temple is going to have their own Obon Festival roughly around the same time.
So
So
what
there's a
is
lot.
that?
So Obon Festival is it's a Japanese summer festival.
Okay.
So it's comparable to like the Japanese cherry blossom festivals that you have
Oh, okay.
like in DC and Tokyo. Oban is a summer festival, and it's pretty lively and and San Jose Taiko, which is well known amongst the taiko drummers, is based here, and they play in Japantown during that festival.
Huh. Interesting. Wow. So we have, I know like in Chicago, we have like the Puerto Rican Independence Day, and they have a big festival in Humboldt Park, which is where they're like that's where they lived.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of Puerto Rican um, community. I mean, they have like their center and all of that. So they have a big festival in the park there, and they do stuff for Chinese New Year. But there's not a ton of different festivals like that in Chicago, like Mexican Independence. They've done stuff, but so it's really interesting to hear about different things going on. I mean, all of our different neighborhoods have their own like fests, which have the flavor of the neighborhoods, but they're not as, I don't want to say culturally diverse, but I mean, you know, there's like a Polish festival and there's those kinds of things, but it's not the same as what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's just the Puerto Rican festival is the only one I can really think of here in Chicago.
Yeah. Well, we're being on the West Coast, so there's such diversity of cultures here.
Hmm.
You know, a lot of it is very historic. We do see some of the, being educated, some of the history of it, some of the injustices, but some of the things they had to overcome over the years. Like we have a very large Vietnamese American community. We have um, a um, a little Saigon in downtown San Jose. There's a sizable Korean American community in Santa Clara with a lot of Korean businesses on El Camino, like the
Hmm.
center part of Santa Clara. And we have a very large Chinese American community. And we have a very dynamic Hispanic community that, during Cinco de Mayo and Mexican Heritage Month, that they're very out there in terms of celebrating the community. The low riding culture is very big in the Hispanic American community. That we still see the low riders during
Hmm.
4th of July out in the community. So it's a very diverse, and that's one of the benefits of living out here. Is just the variety of different cultures and communities, from food that are reflected in the food, in the festivals, in the cultures. That makes this area so much fun to be around. And if you don't have it here, well, luckily we're an hour's drive to San Francisco or to Oakland, where we can still enjoy those cultural festivals if we don't have it here in Silicon Valley.
Right. I mean, we definitely have the food as
Yeah.
well, being in Chicago, a big city. We have Chinatown and we have Greek Town and we have Little Italy and we have a little Vietnamese area. And so we have all those different, I mean, and we have uh it's really interesting. We have this one street, Devon Avenue, which used to be all the Jewish like the kosher restaurants, and now it's Indian with a few smattering of
Mhm.
Jewish and kosher restaurants, or more of the Jewish delis and whatnot. So it's very interesting the way you see changes in communities, especially when you've lived here for so long.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously gentrification has also changed some of the communities. I lived in Logan Square, which was very Puerto Rican
Mhm.
um, for a long time, and now it has changed, but it's also very artsy too.
Yeah.
And so you see that in some of the things that are going on in the parks and those kinds of things. So it's very interesting to see. And like my great grandparents lived in Humboldt Park,
Mhm.
and now it's very Puerto Rican. And so just some of the changes, having family that have lived here for generations and hearing stories about where people lived, or where my dad grew up and where my grandma grew up, and just how things have changed over the course of 100 years.
Yeah.
So
I still get the talk. Luckily, there's still some vestiges of this community's history. Silicon Valley wasn't always called Silicon Valley; it was called the Valley of Heart's Delight, and there are still vestiges of the old farming communities
uh-huh,
throughout this area.
right.
The murals that we have here. There's, I was at a night market about a month ago, and they repurposed an old agricultural warehouse into
Hmm.
an event place, and
Hmm.
still have the old tools in there as showing the history of the community. So I mean, there's luckily folks who are trying to preserve our history at the same time moving forward, and allow such a community to grow and breathe and to adapt and evolve. And we still have, so we have an organization that preserves historic signs from old businesses.
Hmm.
So it's just amazing, just continuity that the community has from its agricultural past to its high-tech present and
Yeah.
future. So, and it's just going to be amazing to see how the community is going to adapt and change in the coming years.
Right. Yeah. When we're no longer here.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to be here for a little longer.
No, no, but I'm just saying, but like
Yeah,
50 years from now, 60 years from
yeah,
now,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right.
So,
That's what I'm talking about. Right. Because I mean, and I don't know how old some of the, we have homes that are over 100 years old,
mhm,
that have been modified, but you still see some pieces from the past,
yeah,
right? The structures are the same, but even some of the, whether it's the floors that have been preserved or just some of the, you know, they used concrete, um, as opposed to drywall and
yeah.
those kinds of things that you just can't replace. And it's
Mhm.
just so interesting. And people just, the houses are, some of them are so much better built than the new construction. Some of
Yeah,
it, I won't say all
yeah.
of it, but some of the new construction, especially stuff that was put up when there was so much growth at a certain period of time. And the way people preserve it, and we have so many homes that are historical landmarks
Yeah.
because of when they were built.
Yeah, we have some historical landmarks because the age of the homes, and so we got some historic neighborhoods in the area. Langley
Hmm.
Park is the first one that comes to mind of the original San Jose. Willow Glen is another area. We got some historic homes that are though again that are in the 100-year plus category. But most of the homes that have been built here, I want to say, were built during the 60s through the 80s. And you could tell that I feel like the floor plans in the homes in the 50s and 60s are not that great, but the build quality was so much better compared to some of the newer homes.
Yeah.
But the floor plans, I feel like the newer ones are a little bit more up. They're more what a lot of people are would like in the home. So we do see some people tearing down or repositioning walls to try and make some more open space for themselves, or
Correct.
tearing down some of the kitchens in order to make it more usable for their standards for today.
Hmm. Yeah, you'll have to come to Chicago and I'll give you a tour
Uh,
like of some of our areas like Frank Lloyd Wright,
yeah.
he has a bunch of places in this area and that's like some of those I've been in some of those homes and those are like very cool. Like some that have had no updating whatsoever. I mean, like some electrical work and some of that, but like I'm 5'4" and I could barely fit into a shower in one of Frank Lloyd Wright's homes. And so that was built when in like the 1940s
Yeah.
or 50s. I mean, like some of the mid-century modern stuff here or stuff that was built earlier than that are pretty incredible.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's amazing some of the stuff. But yeah, history. It's and then you go over to Europe and you see some of the stuff that's even older. It's crazy,
Yeah,
but
it's just amazing how we were, how people the lifestyles have kind of changed how how our homes. And I went to school in DC, so I see some of the real houses back when I was living back then in DC during my college years in the late 90s, and compared to what was I'm living here is it's definitely you can see the differences in terms of the quality, but also in terms of like how to how we're kind of adapting to the environment in terms of like I lived through I lived through earthquakes, so and knowing how the build is a little bit different compared to, like, for example, Florida, where their build quality has to be different because of the hurricanes, the winds that they have to handle.
right.
Like right now, one of the biggest issues that we have to educate our clients, especially if they're looking in the hillsides of the valley, is no fire danger, for example. Like
Right.
Yeah.
That made me think of that. Are you guys having trouble getting places insured because of the fires and the
Uh,
earthquakes?
so the earthquake's not that bad an issue. It's more the fire is become
Okay.
more of an issue. Um, it's probably heard in the news that two major insurance companies are pulling out of California. They're not issuing new policies.
Policy.
So has become, California does have a backup plan for a lot of homeowners, but it's pretty expensive. It's called the California Fair Plan. That's what my insurance agents are telling me. And now I'm having discussions with my insurance agents, trying to get ahead of the game of like, okay, we may need to have you in the escrow process as soon as we make an offer.
Right.
So because in a multiple offer situation in our market, a lot of buyers are making offers without contingencies, and luckily in our market, it's not in every part of the state. Sellers are doing inspections up front
Right.
and providing disclosures up front, so it makes it easier for our buyers to make offers knowing that these is what the sellers are disclosing upfront, all these issues they know about the home through a third party. So they're more comfortable-ish to make offers without any contingencies. So,
Right.
so we're seeing that, and now we're trying to get ahead of it because if we have to compete, and the issue is one buyer needs to confirm they can get insurance, and their buyer already has to take care of it, where the odds are the seller may want to go with the buyer who has taken care of their insurance issues up front.
Right. Because you can't get a mortgage unless you can get insurance.
Yeah. And prior to the issues we're having with insurance, we probably have to wait. A lot of buyers don't wait, don't approach their insurance agent until halfway through the escrow. And now it may be too late.
Right.
So because some of them don't know who can provide coverage or not.
So that's great having a person that you know that they can go to right
Mhm.
away. Or even, so is it that if they're looking in certain areas, you have them talk to the insurance broker ahead of time, or is it just in general you have them start talking to the insurance brokers, and if you're making an offer on a specific home, you have them reach out? How do you approach that?
So this is a new subject we're bringing up right
No,
now.
no,
So
I know.
no, I'm saying new subject we're bringing up with my clients right now.
Yeah,
So right now I'm trying to educate my clients. You need to you need to have a partner already
right,
that has ideally multiple carriers that they can work with.
right,
The old days of relying on your car insurance company to provide homeowners insurance may be gone because your car insurance company may not do home. So having that in line can help you be more competitive when you do make an offer. So we're having discussions right now with the buyers I'm working with. They need to have this in mind. And luckily, I do have an insurance agent or two who are in place that can be able to provide the coverage up front.
so it's having an insurance broker that works with multiple policies, multiple companies, as opposed to like a just a one company.
Yeah. And that's
Got
where
it.
I'm leaning now towards recommend to my clients. It's still my buyer's decision of what they would like to do,
Right.
but I'm giving them, like, if you're in a multiple offer situation and the only holdup is can you get insurance or not,
Right.
let's take care of that up front before we even make the offer.
It, I mean, it's really no different than recommending to a potential, to a buyer. You can speak to your bank that has this product, but also speak to a mortgage broker that also has that one product plus a whole bunch of other products.
Mhm.
So speak to them both to see who can put together the best package for you in order to be able to get the
Yeah.
house.
Absolutely. And luckily, the insurance agents I talk to, they are able to provide a quote with their insurance companies and pad the effective date to when your expected close of escrow is. So that kind of helps educate my buyers. Like, okay, we got this lined up. There's one less thing we have to worry about. If they need to shop around still, they can still shop around, find a better rate, right? But they already have that insurance coverage in the bank already. So it makes it a little bit more of a secure position when they are when they are competing in a multiple offer situation.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's awesome. That's that's great. And it also makes you it helps them. And that's the thing that we want to do. We want to position ourselves to help our buyers have the best package when they're competing against other
Yeah,
offers.
absolutely. And I think that the sellers I believe choose who they want to work with, and we just have to make it as enticing as possible for our buyers to want to choose them. So,
Uh-huh.
and we advise accordingly. And I imagine the same thing you do in your market, that sellers are looking at price and other things, and when they do consider which offer to work with.
Right. I mean, we don't necessarily have the insurance issue. I know our home insurance for some people have gone up, and I think that's because we sometimes get the brunt of what's going on the East Coast and the West Coast in order to make it easier on you guys in the Midwest. We have some tornadoes. They haven't impacted us as much. So we're taking some of the hits
Mm.
from you guys in order to cover the costs overall. At least that's what one of the insurance brokers I spoke to has said to us.
Okay.
So, yeah. Wow. Good stuff. Good
Yeah.
stuff. Well, I really appreciate it. I always say it's only going to be about 20 minutes, and then we get on a topic and start talking.
Yeah.
And it ends up going a lot longer, but I think this was so interesting. And I can't wait to try and get out there to see you so you can be my tour guide. So
Let,
many
let me
places.
let me know. I mean, you're more than happy to come to my office in Saratoga. Just give me a heads up. I think Carol would love to meet my sales manager would love to meet another agent from another part of the country, and it should definitely love to show you around and highlight a couple places.
Awesome. That would be so fun.
Yeah,
And if you ever want to come to Chicago, let me know.
we'll do.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
Well, it was so great talking to you. Thank you so much. And I'll see you on
All right.
Instagram.
So I'll see you on Instagram. All
Thank
right.
you so
All right.
much, Clarence. Have a great
You
day.
too. Bye.
Bye.